What up, world? 502 King Power coming to y'all with another video. So I'm a little bit short on time today. I'm gonna make this video quick. A lot of times through life, we're taught that being childish is something negative. Something childish is something to be looked down upon. And there are some negative traits of being a child, such as immaturity, lack of wisdom. But there's also some good traits that we can take on from being childlike, and the Lord actually instructs us to be childlike if we wish to be faithful. So I'm going to share a passage here. It's from the book of Matthew, chapter 18. It's verse 1 through, I'm going to go through 6. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called a little child and had him stand among them, and he said, "I tell you the truth. Unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes a little child like this in my name welcomes me. But if anyone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." And I'm going to finish right there. Again, if y'all want to go back and read that yourself, it's Matthew chapter 18, verse 1 through 6. So I just want to give y'all some quick takeaways that I got from that. And so basically, when I read that, I feel like the Lord is instructing us in a way to watch the children. Watch the children, observe the way that they are brought into this world and pick up traits from them. Because as we all know, the most innocent people on this earth is children. I first recognized that I could learn from watching a child when I had my daughter. She showed me a lot of things that I would not have been able to learn from a textbook. I couldn't have learned from just someone telling me. I had to see these things out of her. And I just put down a few things here. 3. I'm going to share with you 3 traits that all of us should have. That all of us should have to be faithful to our Lord. Number 1, be humble. And the way that I see this in children is that you can correct children fairly easily. You know, and I'm not talking about your loudmouth kids that talk back to you and all this stuff. I'm not talking about those children. Those kids have been led that way, therefore they act that way. I don't blame them for that. I blame their parents and whoever else is around them. I'm talking about kids who are able to take constructive criticism. It's a lot easier to correct a child than it is to correct an adult. A child is still building their behaviors. An adult has already lived different behaviors. They've already built up patterns and different traits that they have. Kids, it's a lot easier for them to learn languages because their brain is still learning. It's still being built. It's still being wired, you know? So it's not that hard for them to learn how to take on new things. And actually, they're humble because they're so willing to take on new things. That's 1, being humble. Number 2, forgiving. I learned this with my daughter. Man, you can correct this girl. And I mean, I love my daughter. You can correct her, and she doesn't even do it anymore. When she was younger, she would cry and, you know, pout for all of 2 minutes. And then right back, she would just be smiling and dancing and singing, just doing. It's like kids' memory is this short when it comes down to whether it's, you know, correction, whether it's even sometimes, you know, traumatic type of events. Their memory is so short. It's like, you know, you could, and I don't whoop my daughter, but you could whoop your kid. And, you know, 2 seconds later, they're right back loving on you, hugging you, and so forth. And I think that is, you know, that is an amazing thing. That's something that, you know, when you see that, when you see a kid, how quick they're willing to forgive and move on with life, it's something that you know, you shouldn't lust for anything, but it's something that almost brings a lustful desire out of you to be able to move that way, because so many adults are unable to forgive and move on. And that's something that we can really learn from kids. Number 3, this is my last one, loving. Kids are so loving. You know, up until a certain age, we see the kids, you know, whether a male, female, whatever, they greet each other with hugs, they greet each other with kisses, they greet each other, hi, you know, and when they leave each other, they genuinely miss each other. When they see each other, they're genuinely happy to see each other. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I was talking to a friend, and he told me that his son, he's gotten to the age now where he stopped hugging other boys, you know, hugging other men. And, you know, I understand that, especially in today's world, you know, the way that we're going, I understand. At a certain point, you do want to cut off that boundary. But let's just think from a kid standpoint, from a childish mind, if you will. You love everybody. You don't see homosexual, you don't see heterosexual, you don't see any of that. All you see is people, and you love people, man. And I just want to, you know, wrap this up now. Like I said, I don't have too much time, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Key takeaways is figure out how you can be more childlike in the ways of being humble, being forgiving, being loving through all situations, through whatever life puts in front of you. And I tell you, man, once you start doing that, you start to realize what it is that life is really all about. Some people, it doesn't take for them to have a kid to know that, or to even watch a kid to know that. For me personally, it took for me to have a daughter, for me to go out here and to really see how life should be. You know, to see how life could be if we all thought a little bit more childlike. I thank y'all for your time today. If you could, please make sure you like the video down below, subscribe, send this video out to somebody who needs to hear it. And, make sure you hit that notification bell, too. Super important, man. Hit the notification bell. It's going to make sure you get all my new videos. Make sure y'all comment down below. I love seeing the comments, man. I'm going to get back to y'all. It's 502 King Pow. I'm out of here.